1956, I lived in Budapest. I was working for the Central Research Institute of Physics. My wife died in May that year in a traffic accident. My son, who was 4-year-old, I transferred him to my parents, who lived in southwest Hungary. It was decided that the Prime Minister is going to make a big speech from the balcony of the Parliament. And so a lot of people came to the Parliament Square to listen to the Prime Minister. As we gathered there was shooting started. The shooting came by the secret police. And I tell you, it is a very interesting experience when they are shooting at you. After the first second, you get really, really frightened. I mean, you're really frightened. And it takes a couple of minutes to decide to run and which way to run. A lot of people were dying, a lot of people were running, a lot of people were just shot and not dying, and being shot is probably worse than just dying, because you fall down, you suffer, you try to get out of the range of the shooting. I, fortunately, was not shot. The Buddha Castle is on a big hill across the Danube from the Parliament. Hungarian citizens were armed at the castle. As a matter of fact, they were armed all over Budapest. Soldiers gave arms to those who went in and wanted to arm themselves. The soldiers themselves refused to fight, but they supported the fight. The Russian tanks were trying to take over the castle. We were trying to prevent that. That's why we were pouring oil down the slopes so that the tanks were sliding backwards instead of forward. So they started shooting. And as a result of fighting, I lost my ID card. So I was there without my ID card. And without my ID card, it was a good reason, one of the good reasons, to leave the country. I decided to leave Hungary for different reasons. One of them is because I didn't want my son to grow up in a communist country. When my parents brought George to Budapest, we boarded a train to Vienna. On the train ride towards Vienna, I decided that we are going to stop and get off the train because I've heard that there are many Russian soldiers in the Viennese railway station. We arrived to Bősárkány in the evening, which is on the Hungarian side, and we were planning to pass the bridge in the morning. However, when we woke up in the morning, we found that the Russians blew up the bridge. So we decided to take the train. As soon as we passed the river, the railway stopped. the conductor said, at the next station is full of Russian soldiers, so if you don't want to meet them, don't get on the train. So we decided to walk instead of taking the train. We walked about 4 miles to the next village towards the border. That section of the border was guarded by Hungarian soldiers. It took us at least an hour to meet the Hungarian soldiers who would guide us through the border. That night, it was about 6 hours to reach the border, walking in cold, frozen ground. When we got to the border, we thanked the soldiers to bring us here. They pointed us blindly, because it was dark, which way Andau is, and then we parted. After a couple of 100 yards, we met a car. It was the Andau doctor's car. The women and George went in the car with the doctor to Andau, and the rest of us were walking almost an hour to Andau. When we got to Andau, I was told that the Red Cross station is in the school. I went to the school, and one of the rooms, I found George sitting on the top of the teacher's chair with a banana in one hand and chocolate in the other hand.